You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again. And man, we have a true legend. I mean, some people think he's a baseball fan, but man, he's more than that. We're talking to the one and only Zack Hample, and we're talking about his amazing documentary, Zack Hample vs. the World, now available on digital and video on demand. Man, if you don't know him, he's not a professional baseball player, but for decades, he has been racking up stats as if he were. First and foremost, I want to welcome the legendary ball hawk himself. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. That was one of the nicest intros, and you have one of the silkiest, smoothest voices ever. I just want you to read me bedtime stories.
I mean, I wish I can catch all the baseballs that you were able to catch in the baseball stadiums, because you have 10,000 baseballs on your list. I mean, did you catch some of them with bare hand in the glove? I mean, how that work, man?
I've only caught a few barehanded because I always make sure to bring my glove. I think that's one of the most important strategies, is to bring your glove, be prepared. You know, a lot of people say if you're over 12 years old, you shouldn't bring a glove. I think all that macho BS is overrated. So bring a glove, show up early for batting practice. There are a lot more opportunities before the game. And whether it's pregame or during the game, you got to think strategically. You got to look for the room and the places to run. You don't want to get trapped in the middle of a long row of fans. So look for the empty rows, the walkways, the tunnels, the standing room, the staircases, any place where you can get up and chase after a baseball. And, there's many, many strategies beyond that. And I've turned it into a little bit of a science, I suppose you could say, over the years.
You've been over to 61 different major league stadiums. That's crazy. I mean, you're famous for catching some of the most important catches. I mean, Trout's first career home run, Alex Rodriguez's 3,000th hit. I mean, you've been on late night TV. You actually got to sit next to A-Rod. I saw the highlights. I mean, how does it feel to be able to have that kind of notice and spotlight? Because I know it's not always great because you got haters, but you also have the opportunity to live something that a lot of people don't get a chance to do.
Yeah, good point. There are a lot of haters out there. It's kind of unbelievable. And that's why the documentary is called what it is, Zack Hample versus the World, because there's a lot of people that have tried to take me down, but it's overwhelmingly positive, thankfully. But to sit next to A-Rod at a press conference at Yankee Stadium with more media in one place, more cameras than I've ever seen, it's crazy to be up there with him. He's the superstar, but just to get a taste of that for a few minutes and all the TV stuff, like you said, I've definitely had more than my 15 minutes of fame with this hobby. I mean, it started as a dorky childhood hobby, and now it's turned into my full-time career. I make YouTube videos full-time. I've written 3 books. I have a business where I take people to baseball games and guarantee that they'll catch at least one ball. And all the money that I've raised for charity, it just feels so good. And I just want to keep this momentum going. This film is so beautifully made, 95 minutes long. I almost can't believe it, but it's so cool to have gotten to this point with this hobby.
And also in 2013, you broke a record of catching a baseball that was dropped over 1,050 feet from a helicopter. I mean, that sounds pretty easy to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I set a world record with that. One of the books that I wrote called The Baseball, there was a whole section in it about stunts that people have done with baseballs. And as I was doing research, I got a trove of articles sent by the research director at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. And I was reading all these old timey stories of guys who caught baseballs dropped off the Washington Monument. Babe Ruth supposedly caught one dropped out of an airplane. And I was like, I could break that record if I only had a chance to do it. But how do you set something like that up? And so I happen to know a guy who was a test flight engineer for the FAA. And he was like, if you can find a place to do it in New England, I can get the pilot and the helicopter. It was a whole thing. There's a video of that on my YouTube channel. If people search my name, Zack Hample, and the word helicopter, you'll find the video. It's wild stuff. And so, yeah, pretty cool to be in the record books with all the balls caught, the helicopter. I have 6 world records on classic arcade video games too. I mean, my dorkiness knows no bounds, I tell you.
And what's also cool about this story, since 2009, you, Zach, You've been able to use your collection and your influence to raise more than $200,000 for Pitch In for baseball and softball, a children's charity which provides equipment to kids and communities all over the world. How awesome is that for you to be able to use your blessings to give back to the community?
It's amazing. I try not to be a total jerk in the process of running around and having my fun. There's a lot of fake news. In all seriousness, I know that's a term that gets thrown around easily, but you Google my name and you're going to think that I'm a monster, that I'm knocking kids down and stealing baseballs, but it's really far from the truth. I've never knocked down anybody, and I've given away thousands of balls and also used my platform to spread the message and raise money for Pitch In for baseball and softball, which provides equipment to kids all over the world. So, there's a lot of haters, mostly online, and it's mostly people who've never met me. But when I go to a baseball game, I'm telling you, probably 100 to 200 people over the course of the day will recognize me and come up. And it's like a love fest. There's over the course of a season, I'll meet 10,000 people, and there's really just a handful of folks who will say something nasty. So, Zack Hample versus the world is accurate. There's been a lot of crap out there, but thankfully it's moving in a very positive direction.
Once again, talking to the one and only Zack Hample. You can watch this amazing documentary, Zack Hample versus the world. It is now available on digital and video demand. I just want to say thank you for taking time, your busy schedule, talking to us today, man. You have a good one, man.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
I Am Refocused Radio is brought to you by Foo 4 Star and Holy Crab. Foo 4 Star is a family-owned Asian restaurant in San Antonio, Texas. We have been a local favorite for Asian cuisine for over 10 years. With nothing but full smiles and fast service, you'll be leaving satisfied. Come on in for some authentic Vietnamese food. Holy Crab is one-of-a-kind Cajun Creole-style seafood restaurant located in Universal City, Texas. We offer traditional seafood items as well as chicken and steak. We also offer seafood boils. Come give us a try. You won't be disappointed. You can find these two eateries in Universal City, Texas at 2921 Pat Booker Road.